Welcome to the show. I am very honored to have my dear friend Geoff in the house, Geoff Weers. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you for having me. Super honored to be here.
Yeah,
in a beautiful
likewise.
setting such as this.
Yeah, brought it full circle into the garden.
Yeah, man.
Which is nice. And we're going to share a little pot for two. We're having a little bit of India coffee. This has got notes of green apple, marzipan, butter. It's a nice light roast. We're kind of just jumping off into getting into the vibe here in the garden with our cups of coffee. Cheers, man.
Cheers. I'm into this coffee here.
Good.
Mhm.
Good.
As a kind of coffee dum-dum,
Yeah, exactly.
I can say this is good.
Nice. I mean, we're repping some local Cat and Cloud, and the Verve beans are also very good, so it's
Yeah.
nice. But I do want to shout out, this is from Atlas Coffee Club, so it's kind of nice to taste different coffees from around the world. It's from the Tamil Nadu subregion, and it's been from an altitude of 1,600 meters, kind of southern tip of India. Very cool.
Well, I can taste the exoticness.
It is.
I'm such not a connoisseur,
I
but
know.
it's
nice.
It's got some kick.
It does. It's going to do the trick.
I love black coffee. That's how I take it. And
Good. Oh, I didn't even think to ask
No,
about
hey,
sugar or
man,
cream.
no.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to get the pure expression of the
right.
beans.
The pure expression.
That's right.
Mm-mm.
Well, brother, tell me about how did music come into your life? Let's start with like kind of the roots of
Oh,
your
boy.
music career and love, the healing power of music.
Yeah, I think, as you just asked that question, the first thing that popped into my mind was Michael Jackson.
Wow.
I remember being a little kid, maybe when Michael Jackson was doing his thing in the early mid 80s, putting on the Thriller record on my Fisher Price record player and running to the bathroom to try to get my hair to go down in a little curl so it would be just like MJ and try to recreate his moves
Wow.
as a, I don't know, just out of toddler age.
That's beautiful.
And I think that was the first time music really grabbed a hold of me and did something and wanted to make me dance. And, I didn't, back then I don't think I was like, oh, I'm going to make this a career or anything.
No,
like that.
it's the what got you going.
It's really, I really enjoyed it. And then kind of, went through normal kid life, and my parents would put me into choirs when I was younger. I played a little clarinet in
Nice.
elementary school.
That's cool.
Played hot cross buttons,
Yeah, just the initial exposure.
Yeah. As I think my sister played clarinet, so I got the hand-me-down clarinet. So that was just default. Jeff, you're playing clarinet. We're not going to get you a saxophone.
You got it.
And then they got me into doing theater as a young kid too,
Nice.
which I think has many repercussions of what I do now. I think me feeling comfortable on stage started at that early age. I did a lot of Santa Cruz Junior Theater was what we were in.
Cool.
And I did it for a few years. Did multiple productions. I was Aladdin one time.
Yeah, man. Those are solid roles.
I was the cricket in Pinocchio.
You stole the show
An
as
Argonaut.
the cricket, I bet.
Yeah. I was an Argonaut and Jason and the Argonauts. I was
Nice.
we did all kinds of stuff. So, and the director, Charlie DeWalt, I think his name was, we did a lot of cool exercises, and I think, like I said, it had a huge impact on kind of my later life.
Yeah.
In being comfortable on stage. And then as I got older into high school, what really got me into like playing guitar and kind of noticing band stuff was my sister had a boyfriend, and she's older than I am. So she was in high school and I was in junior high, and her boyfriend, he was in a band and would play guitar. And I was like, she brought me to a couple of practices, and I was like, oh boy,
It got
this
you
is cool.
inspired.
Yeah, they were, what were they called? Unsound? But they were kind of like a 90s grunge,
That's
garage
great.
grunge band. Kind of a mixture of probably kind of Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains kind of stuff,
It's one of my favorites. So your sister's boyfriend's band.
Yeah.
Was it a big inspiration?
That was, and he actually
exposure too.
Yeah. He actually taught me how to play guitar.
Oh, killer!
So I started taking lessons from him.
What a cool guy.
Yeah, no, he was a great guy.
Nice.
Nathan is his name.
Nice.
And so he got me into playing guitar, and he was actually playing guitar in high school in the jazz band. So he kind of was teaching me as a junior high, or kind of prepping me to get into the jazz band at SoCal High.
Nice.
And so he was able to usher me in doing that, because then to get in the jazz band at SoCal High, you had to kind of, as a guitar player, you had to take the prerequisite guitar class.
I see. And have some chops, I imagine.
Yeah. And he kind of was able to get me in there without me having to do that.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it was cool because he taught me all the jazz chords to get in there and just kind of prepped me. And so, I got into the jazz band, and that was like getting to jam every morning, or not every, like 3 mornings a week. You had to be there at like 6:45, 7 o'clock.
That's pretty serious band.
You
were like in the band life.
Yes.
It's like sports are like that.
Correct.
Yeah. So you took it that serious.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I took it seriously. I just something that was fun. Yeah. I'd never really.
I guess putting in reps without even feeling it because it was fun.
Correct. And so that definitely had a big influence. Being in the jazz band had a big influence on my songwriting, noticing chord structure, noticing how songs are kind of put together.
Yeah.
And so a lot of like really, really early Expendables stuff has some of the kind of chord changes that a jazz song would have.
That's really cool insight, man.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I don't really write like that anymore.
Yeah, but maybe those figuring things out on your own. You had a foundation.
I lifted some stuff from jazz.
Of course.
And so, that I was in that for 4 years, and then the Expendables got together in high school. So that kind of blended itself together. And
SoCal High.
Wow. A bunch of dudes from SoCal High.
So how'd you guys all meet? Or how'd that formation manifest?
I mean, I've known Adam, our drummer, since Little League. We were on the same Little League team.
That's
the
cool.
Cubs in Farm League. So we were like 8 years old, I think.
Yeah.
I've known Raul since junior high, and I actually helped him get into playing guitar, and I think we went to the guitar store together to get his first guitar. Like he would definitely, I was already being taught by Nathan, and kind of kept his interest, I guess, or, was one of the kids that was like, hey, guitar's pretty cool, man.
Nice.
And so he started getting a guitar then. So I've known him since junior high. Ryan, our bass player, is kind of like the one he went to Aptos High, so I didn't know him until high school, and kind of when you start, going to the same parties and knowing some kids from other schools.
Meeting some people in the community.
His friend was dating one of our old guitar. We had 3 guitar players in the band. His name's Cam. He quit a long time ago, but we're still homies.
Cam's the homie.
Yeah, Cam's the homie. You know Cam.
Yeah, I know.
I think everybody in this town knows Cam.
Good people.
Yeah.
I knew Cam and Blake, back another homie, mutual friend. Yeah.
It was one of Ryan, our bass player's friends, was dating Cam's sister back in the day.
Okay.
So we would kind of see him, in part of the friend group with, the guy dating, whatever. Just small town
Santa
stuff.
Cruz. Yeah.
Small town stuff. So we kind of knew each other, and then Ryan, the bass player that we had, went to college, and Ryan was able to come in and bring his bass playing and his songwriting. Ryan's a great songwriter.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's written a lot of cool songs. He wrote Bulfer too, pretty much.
No way.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to maybe segue. Speak about these early, these early days of the band. So there was the roots of Little League and your friends with Raul, but also the community bringing you guys together. But some of those notoriety tracks, like Bulfer 2 is a big one.
It's huge. I mean, it's our biggest one. Yeah. And I can give him most of the credit because him and I used to get together and write songs.
That's rad.
And I think part of it was like finding a way to get out of our parents' house back in the day. And like we didn't to me, it didn't feel like, hey, we're going to write some music. We
It
just
was an
we just
outlet.
go and hang out and have
Hang.
guitars on us and just, whoa, I got this cool little thing, or discovering cool ways chords go together and I don't know.
Jam.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, I got this little chord progression. And I started playing it, and all of a sudden you started singing, I packed this wolf. And we kind of, our eyes raised up.
Yeah, it sounds good.
And, if my memory serves it, I think he went home and kind of worked on it and brought it back and was like, hey, I got the rest of the song. And that time, it was just another song.
Sure.
It wasn't like, oh, this is going to be the thing. And so
definitely resonated with the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's so cool is a little Santa Cruz jam sesh turned into
it's wild.
The whole world.
Because we would play it, but it wasn't one of those things where we thought, oh, we never thought. I think that happens a lot. I hear this in other band interviews, and we never thought that song was going to be anything. But we never did. And then it kind of had a slow build to it. Because on the record that it came out on, there was another song called Sacrifice, which was kind of the one where people were like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
And and it's still cool. But
yeah.
Now Bowl for Two has surpassed it. You can look at the data on Spotify and crap like that. It blows everything out of the water in our catalog.
Wow.
And I've been in Hawaii on a like a boat tour.
Sure.
And one of the people working on the boat were like, "Hey, are you?"
No way called you out.
Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm Geoff from the Expendables." They're like, "You know what? Bowl for Two was the song when I first smoked weed. My friend put it on."
Yeah.
And I've heard this a couple of times. Like, I think we're that song's a little bit of a gateway kind of drug, getting everybody to smoke their first puffs of ganja.
I'm one of those people for sure. out in the Sierra Nevada foothills. I remember where I was, Tom Heflin's Rainbow Orchards, and we were in like a shack in an apple orchard that was the little clubhouse.
Wow.
And he put on Bowl for Two. We had a whole session. There was a bunch of songs, but that was in the mix and remained in our mix for it's pretty cool, man.
It's touching.
Full circle.
Yeah. It's such I feel so grateful for all that type of connection that music can do.
Amen.
To me, it's one of the most amazing art forms that can send messages and bring people together, can make people, break people apart.
Sure.
Be markers in people's lives, when you're young, the style of music that you listen to, like, creates your identity. There's so much that music does in our lives. It's wild. And to be someone that plays it, have people listen to it is I'm so grateful every day for it.
There's a whole new generation coming to your shows, and maybe we could speak a little about the new album, Pleasure Point.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the process, or one thing that came to mind when you were speaking to and kind of like jamming with Ryan in high school, one thing I wanted to speak to is like your process as a group. I think it's really refreshing to hear there's a lot of people contributing to the creation process, and about the muse within the group and how to kind of maintain that connection with the muse. Yeah.
Man, I never think of it as a muse, but all of us, Pleasure Point was was written over a long period of time. So COVID happened. Like, there's a few songs that we put out, and then COVID happened, and it kind of put everything on a pause. So a couple of songs we released pre-COVID or during COVID, that are on Pleasure Point, were written. There's a lot of songs were written over a long period of time to be on that record. It wasn't like we went in the studio for 6 weeks and wrote all those songs.
Sure. Yeah.
There was kind of a long development and a long arc to some of those songs. But this record, I feel like everybody really brought a lot of their own flavor, each individual. I'm not saying that other records weren't, but I think there was a more of an effort to have each individual's art represented. And I think that's what helps make it what it is, because I feel like it's a pretty damn good record.
Hey, man, it's one of my favorites,
Cool.
and I love all your records.
Nice.
And yeah, but it's neat to see. It's always refreshing when you appreciate a group for a long time, and then the new material is like, whoa, they're still surprising me. They're still growing.
That means a lot to hear.
Growth.
From you. I mean, yeah, no, I agree. Like some bands, some artists, their later stuff, I think a lot of times you associate with the stuff that you first heard that moved you the most. And then I think a lot of fans want to hear that over and over.
Hear the hits on the road.
Yeah, and which is great. I mean, I don't fault anybody for wanting to hear more of what they originally got into the band for. But I think us as a band, we've been so eclectic in our styles that we play. I don't know. I'm just kind of riffing here, but maybe it's hard to catch people off guard.
Amen.
People can expect the unexpected sometimes from us because we don't really stay in a lane too much.
Yeah.
Between songs and then within a song.
Yeah. Genre shifts.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So, yeah, I'm happy to hear that, this new record has been so well received. And I feel like even like the album art and like the name, it kind of just brought everything together. And it's one of those things that it feels nice. And like, right, we're starting to write a new record right now. And I really want to ride that momentum and keep on that kind of representing everybody's musical art history, because everybody writes songs. Like, I don't know how rare that is in bands, but I feel like generally there's like one or two people that really write a lot of the stuff, and the rest kind of just, cruise along with it. But
yeah, I feel like usually, I think that's my experience is like maybe two are strong. Someone might come with a song, and then there's a lot of collaborative music making, jamming to the new track. But it's exciting to hear with your group. There's all players have their own kind of tunes that they can bring to the table and styles.
Yes.
It's refreshing.
Yeah.
And it keeps it engaging.
Everybody has their own kind of pocket of inspiration that they come from. And I'm excited for the new record. I'm like I said, the old record was a long arc of songs that were written a long time ago and kind of made it. And so when we were recording it, it almost felt like we were playing old stuff.
Wild,
in a way.
Sure.
And while it's cool, I really get excited about the newest of the new whenever we're doing anything. So this new record, I'm excited to be like almost starting with a blank piece of paper and see where we take it.
That's exciting.
Yeah,
that's good. One thing that's interesting is what you glossed over, but I do want to go a little deeper. Is like, so Pleasure Point, I mean, in many ways, your style, the music is a reflection of some of the Santa Cruz experience and the eclectic nature of this very special community.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you guys do go all over the world and bring the spirit of Santa Cruz to, and that's what people are looking for. And maybe we could just speak a little bit, like in a way, Santa Cruz is a part of that aesthetic and that muse and that spirit. And, just hear your thoughts on that.
Oh, you're 100% right. I mean, ever since we've always been writing about, like, we all would go to the ocean on the east side. Pleasure Point was our
right there.
Kind of place we'd go surf, place we'd go hang out. All the kids we knew would, from that area. And so, from very early on, there's a lot of talk about that, a lot of inspiration from specific spots. I mean, our song Down, Down, Down is about Capitola Village.
Yeah.
On the new record, there's, the song Pass the Joint. I mean, I know Ryan, our bass player, wrote that song, and he used to live right next door to the market.
Oh, wow.
On the Point. And we used to practice right there. And some of the lyrics that he says in that song, what does he say? Right? Ride my bike with maximum vibe or something like that. And like, I remember the bike he had. I remember everything.
Visceral.
I know what he's
Yeah.
talking about. And so yeah, I think part of our music reflects a lot of that culture in a way, like, you know, it's beautiful and calming, yet at the same time there's a lot of aggression.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, just surfing is that kind of thing, like, where you have to be, especially like shortboarding, there's a lot of like alpha male stuff that goes on, the localism stuff. You have to be aggressive, yet you also have to be flowy.
Yeah, because you're working with nature in a way, but everybody's trying to get on that wave.
Right. And so there's part of that, I think, reflects in our music, the kind of the duality of the mellowness of Santa Cruz, yet the kind of the darker aggression.
There's an edge to it.
There's an edge. And I think a lot of Santa Cruz, and maybe a lot of beach towns in general, but there's also always this beauty, but then there's also this kind of dark underbelly, you know, that is not necessarily talked about, or people that come and visit don't necessarily see, but the people that do live here are like, oh yeah,
they know.
There's that edge.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just the way life is. It's the way, you know, I think people are, you know, there's duality, dual natures. Not everybody's 100% good and not everybody's 100% bad. There's, you know, everybody's, I think, working on themselves to be better, but like, you make mistakes.
Big time.
Yeah. And so
it's part of it, part of the experience, part of life.
Yeah. Right. And accepting those, you know, the shadow self.
Totally.
Know, right. You hear a lot about that. And
and shadow work, like, you know, accepting that shadow part of yourself in order to heal sometimes, right? Because sometimes there's indirect reasons for dealing with what's going on, and sometimes it's interesting. Yeah, Santa Cruz has that duality pretty profoundly. The longer you're here, the more you realize how interconnected we are and how we've all gone through, you know, the really bright, happy times, mellow times, and some really dark steps. And it's a part of everyone's story.
Right.
It's interesting, yeah. But it is true. Your music does have that edge,
right?
And it has the flow,
right? And there's a lot of, like, you know, Santa Cruz has a lot of punk rock.
Yeah, it does.
There's a lot
of
history, deep punk rock roots here. There's a
culture
lot of
and tradition,
rock and roll roots here.
Yeah.
And you know, like, reggae was influenced into brought into my life through some of my really flowy surfer friends. They took me to my first reggae concert, which was Ekamouth.
Nice.
Back in the day. And
where was that? At the Cap?
At Palookaville.
Oh, even more rootsy, man. That's what's up.
Yeah. And
Palookaville is legendary.
Dude.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the crowd and, like, the first time really getting one drop once it's like, boom.
Yeah.
And
feeling that in
like,
your
there's
body.
a duality, and even in that, like, reggae is such a, you know, I feel like on the surface, everybody's like, oh, reggae, you know, fucking weed and rainbows and sunshine and beach and like tropical. But there's also like this fucking heaviness to it. It can be as heavy as metal.
Yeah, it is.
When you get that one drop.
Yep.
And that grind,
that bass player.
You
yeah.
know that?
Yeah,
that
the rhythm section.
Oh my God.
Especially in a good like Palookaville setting.
Oh
like,
my
boom.
God.
It hits you in your core. And it stays with you.
Dude. And I remember that feeling at that show. I know exactly where I was standing.
That's so cool, man.
And ever since then, I was like, this is what I want to play. I want to give people that.
Cool. Yeah. Hit them hard.
Yeah.
In the heart.
Right. And I recognize the heaviness between the of a metal song and, like, you know, the kind of primal rhythmic nature of metal, and the primal rhythmic nature of that hard hitting one drop, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess there's duality everywhere.
And, you know, and to that point, that's a good segue, because like, you guys coming from this community have really gone out into the world, on the road, and maybe speak to that duality on the road, you know, in the people you perform for outside of Santa Cruz. That's part of that journey too, is like, you know, this music obviously resonates with everybody.
I hope so. I think, you know, I think one of the things that drove me to play both styles, or kind of go in between was, first time I heard Slightly Stupid's Longest Barrel Ride.
Nice.
There's a couple of songs in there that are these, maybe just one song, but there's a couple of times when it's almost like these epic movements, or almost, like one song blends into another and you're not really sure if it's changed a track or not, but like
I love that.
I forget what you call them, but it's like metal to reggae kind of symphonies that they kind of did.
Yeah, medleys, like transitions.
Yeah. And I was like, I want to do that.
Sweet.
I want to extrapolate on that. I want to make my version of that, and I want to even go a step further and harmonize with my friend Raul over there and get some hair metal vibes going.
That's cool.
Yeah. But as far as like, bringing it to the world, like, I think, I don't know, we just did what we wanted to do. And I think it was fresh enough back then. People are like, what the fuck is this? Like, we get the metal dude being like, bro, I hate reggae, but you guys are good. My friends brought me here. I usually go to blah, blah, blah show, but this, okay, I can get into this.
Nice.
So
built the bridge, man.
Yeah, I guess. I can't speak for, people that listen to our music. I just know that we did what we wanted to do and felt it, and for some reason it worked.
Amen. Yeah, well, it's still working. And one thing too is just because we're talking about duality, we're talking about the light and the dark, and I've personally been through this too, where maybe I wasn't paying attention to my body and paying attention to what was going on in the inner workings of my equilibrium and the lack of that. And maybe we can speak to like wellness and health and what you've went through recently.
Yeah, for sure. So there's, for the first majority of my career, our lives as a band, it was just sending it.
Yeah, going hard,
drinking, smoking, and just partying,
Yeah.
And it was awesome. But now that I'm in my 40s, there's repercussions. So I went through, I'm still going through it. My skin's all messed up, but I have eczema, and I was, all my life, eczema is just this kind of hereditary skin thing where you get itchy in certain places of your body. But for a while it got worse. It got real bad. And so I was taking topical steroids for it, and listening to what my doctor was telling me. He's like, hey, just put these on and you'll be fine. And I ended up, doing more and more and getting stronger and stronger stuff because the other stuff would stop working. And the end of last year, I stopped because they weren't helping.
Yeah.
And I was getting weird side effects. And so I stopped, and my skin freaked out.
Yeah.
And I started looking online, like, what's going on with me? And I found out that what I was going through was like a withdrawal from the steroids.
Topical steroids?
Yeah, they call it TSW, topical steroid withdrawal.
Jeez.
And it's like being, like, my skin was hooked on drugs.
Yeah.
And so I'm withdrawing like any other druggie.
Ooh. Which makes you sick too.
It makes you sick. It just caught, like, basically what you put on, the steroids are a suppressant. They suppress your body's function because my body was overreacting by giving myself eczema. And so the suppression of my natural body, my body's natural immune response. So when I take the suppressants away, my body kind of was almost like dumbed down, like it kind of forgot what to do. And so it just reacted. And for the first few months of this year, I was fucked.
Oh, man.
It was bad. It was like such hell. I would not want to wish any of it on anybody. Just full body itching, full body crazy, gnarly flaking, like oozing. Like I would wake up and my sheets would be stuck to me, or there'd be like, it was gross. And then the mental aspect of just being itchy all the time.
Torture.
Itching to where you want to it's like itching to the bone. Like you love, like it feels good, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Ow, that
hurting
hurts."
yourself.
Yeah, and you're like bleeding.
Oh my God.
And like you want to itch more, but it hurts too much to do that, and that's everywhere, all over, head to toe. And so sleeping was terrible, and like just the mental toll it takes waking up every morning. Like, and like my eyes would be all like glued shut with like this weird. I don't even want to say it's gross, dude.
Yeah,
it's fucked up. Like it was
so
like so
rough.
terrible. And I'm still feeling it, but it's not as bad. And so I've had to change my health habits. I couldn't just be send it guy. I stopped drinking, stopped smoking.
Yeah, that's it.
And I just needed to focus on getting my body back.
Yeah.
Right. And so I started eating really well because I've learned that a lot of eczema stuff, while I'm going through this withdrawal, and then a lot of this withdrawal is from the medicine that I was putting on, but like the underlying reason that, why I was taking it is the eczema, and a lot of that has to do with some gut health.
Yeah, flora and fauna in your gut.
Yes, and balancing that out, and making sure that, because the gut is like a huge part of your immune system.
Yeah.
There's trillions of little things in there that are speaking to your body and reacting. And so, yeah, it was wild how much I had to change my lifestyle and kind of pay attention to health. Like, I think there's been a couple times in my life, I was going through some stomach stuff a couple of years ago. I don't know, maybe like 5 years ago now, which made me have to stop drinking. And now I'm like pretty much substance free, except for coffee.
Yeah.
Because life will just give me a little smack in the face and be like, hey, pay attention to your body, pay attention. And I've decided to listen and take action. And I have I was put on these steroids and was never told, even though I'd ask, like, is there any other thing I can be doing to help my skin? And there was like really no, the doctor would be like, no, just put this stuff on.
What a cautionary tale of Western medicine and the lack of cohesion there.
You're right.
Considering diet.
Right.
Or lifestyle changes. They didn't really speak to that. They said, put this heavy...
Right. And here's a stronger one if it doesn't work.
Oh my Lord.
Like, or here's an injection you can start using.
An injection?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
I know. And so I don't know if it's the right way to be, but I'm kind of not trusting Western medicine, and I'm really trusting more so getting the diet and everything I can do without taking a medicine, get that right first.
Yeah.
And then start exploring putting things, you're not normally putting in your body or on top of your body. So if I can start eating more vegetables or eating a less crap seed oils or whatever it is, do that first. Make that, even though it's hard. Like, but when I started this, I'm like, I don't know how I can go on a diet. I've never been on a diet before.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like, I have to be gluten-free, dairy-free, and sugar-free. Like, hell, like, no.
It's hard.
I can't
it's like
eat a
raw
burrito.
vegetables only.
Yeah. I just want to go and get a freaking
burrito.
Perico's burrito.
Amen.
And live my life.
Enjoy that.
But I'm grateful for it because now I feel way better. Like, I love making food now.
Yeah, that's true. It's that mindfulness.
Right. And consuming things that I cook, consuming things that I've chopped up, consuming things that like came from the ground or came from an animal, not like some laboratory processed thing.
Sure.
And it's wild how out of control the food is.
Amen.
Like I consider it poisonous.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that we consume. And it's just, no one's really regulating that as long as it makes the money, right?
Yeah, that's the issue.
And there's a lot of corners cut to pay out the shareholders or whatever it is in this kind of late stage capitalism that we're living in.
Yeah.
it's like it sucks that you have to try so hard to eat well. You have to be so conscious and so present with your choices. You can't just be like, oh yeah,
I'll trust this menu item and have one of those.
Right. And it's but it's eye-opening, and I think it's what you got to do if you want to live healthy, or just kind of keep your body running in a more natural way. I mean, anybody can make their own choices, obviously, but for me, I'm kind of on that
path.
Yeah.
No, and what's heartening is that you were able to come back. You just performed Old Princeton Landing.
Mm-hmm.
You're back with the band.
Mm-hmm.
How'd that feel?
Felt great.
I imagine that felt cathartic and such a release after all this.
Yes. I mean,
it's like you went through the fire, literally, like the fire.
Yes.
The inside and outside.
Right.
Burning.
And it has, even though it's painful, there's been a lot of growth. Growth is painful.
Yeah, it is.
And it's given me such a broader gratitude for where I am in life.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful to be being able to play music for a living.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like so cool. It is so freaking cool. And I don't want to trade it for anything. It's something I love to do. I just have this deeper, bottomless pit of gratitude for what I get to do, and I hope I don't lose that, because I think it's important to live in that space of gratitude, because things can be taken from you any second, and I was like pretty much couldn't do anything for a few months.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, what a terrifying experience to go through. And it reminds me of this, like, health is wealth.
Absolutely.
Old adage, which I think a lot of people take for granted, because we can go decades and feel copacetic and send it. But once something happens and your health is compromised, you realize, even if I had $1 million, I wouldn't be able to do much because I'm so ill or out of balance. And the number one thing we should think about, or be opening a dialogue around, is how do we provide the best, ingredients, food be thy medicine, medicine be thy food, to our bodies, but also, our children. We're both papas, and that's something that we need to maybe be more outspoken about, because growing up I wasn't educated about what we were eating, right? It was we were kind of that fast food nation. Whatever the Lunchables at the cafeteria is, this poisonous stuff, processed stuff,
right?
And I think a lot of that is coming to light now. However, we're still, like you said, there's this perverse incentive for profit. And so, like, we have to make that initiative, on a local level, and in the family. The family's the one that really has to be like, let's think about having some sort of connection to our food,
right?
To the
make
farm.
Some choices that are harder to make.
That's right. It's not as like satiating or as instantly gratifying as that Perico's burrito, but it does make you appreciate that Perico's burrito once in a while if you eat clean,
right? Yeah, and you're making a conscious decision that, like, okay, today, we're going for it. Yeah. Instead of drinking a bottle of Jägermeister, I'm eating a burrito.
Yeah. And bong rips for bed or breakfast.
Right.
Which we all know. And it is part of like a lifestyle, but I do, just having COVID a couple times, wake up call, where I get shook and be like, man, what happened if I got a lot of responsibility now. I have to be healthy. I have to be conscious of these behaviors and risky behavior, and minimize things so that I can be around for the long run.
I know. And it just sucks to know that eating some food can be risky behavior.
It is wild to think like that.
You would think that, like, hey, doing cocaine's risky behavior.
That is a bad one.
But lumped into that too is some foods, which is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, pretty much everything while you're on the road is processed. Like every gas station, right? Or 7-Eleven.
Oh, man.
And for some people, these food deserts, we talk about this in the Bay Area and whatnot, it's a real serious situation. Because, diabetes, these things are systemic. And I'm really happy for you, though. You've come.
Thank you.
I mean, it's going to be a lifelong journey, I imagine. But we spoke on the phone a few weeks ago, and I would have never known if you hadn't told. You look great. You look great.
I appreciate it.
And that's a testament to that discipline and making the shift, the necessary choices.
Yeah, it's not easy. I would tell anybody, like, if you're trying to do any shift, it's give yourself grace.
Yeah, and time. I mean, I commend you too on taking the time and not just pushing through.
Be okay with kind of messing up, or not messing up, but just be okay with the fact that it's freaking hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
The whole world is against you at being healthy. It seems like
so gnarly.
You gotta, it's gnarly. Battling upstream. It's an upstream swim, and if you decide to make that choice to go a healthier route, give yourself some grace. Just like hitting the gym or whatever,
Yeah, man.
Let yourself take a rest day and be okay with it.
That's important. Yeah, and that balance. I mean, and that's the piece here too of coming from a lifestyle and a lifetime of sending it to being okay with having the rest day. I imagine that's something. Does that come up in the band too? I mean,
like the rest day thing.
Yeah, just as a band adjusting to making sure everyone's healthy.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're all noticing our age and
just because it's a tough industry.
Yeah, it's not touring and playing many shows in a week. It's not for it's a young man's thing.
Yeah.
The older we get, the more difficult it gets. Not just physically, but also when you have kids and there's
hard.
A lot of where are you going?
Yeah.
Like, hey, Dad, what wait, you're gonna be gone how long? I'll miss you. Like, wait a minute. That makes it hard too. And so we like taking this time off from the band was like the first time since the beginning of the band that I've prioritized my health.
That's amazing.
And it's crazy to think that, like there's this, the show must go on thing.
Always.
And in some ways, it should, or, that's a good way to think about it when, you're in a place and you have to perform and sometimes your body doesn't want to, or you're tired and sometimes you just got to show up.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to do it at the detriment of my future self. Think about, is this going to affect me when I'm 60? And if I have to play a couple of shows, or me playing a couple of shows now is going to make my 60s harder to live, then maybe I can make some different choices nowadays. And, that's to be determined. We haven't really, other than me being gone for the first few months of this year, I don't know when that choice will have to come up again, but I'm definitely be a little bit more conscious of, do I need to play or do I need to sit this one out? Be okay with the rest.
And be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with any group, especially with a long tenure, because that's a really beautiful part of this Expendable story is how you guys have maintained, you have cohesion for longevity.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I imagine a lot of sister bands, you lose players, you have different generations. But that's important. And also as performing artists, being okay with prioritizing other important things in your life, like health or family.
Right.
We've encountered that in our group where, he needs time to take care of number one, and that's family first.
Yeah.
And let's find ways to work together and accommodate what's important in life. And that's growth too.
Yeah.
It takes courage in a way to be like, what? I think we all need to
there's a lot of expectation. Especially when you're working with agents, managers,
big
people
time.
that are like, wait, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, you're going to do what? It does take courage. And I think, but I think all of us in our band, at least, we're okay with, we recognize that there's different priorities now.
That's good.
And I definitely, since I was gone, the band let me be gone.
Yeah.
And we found Jose. He's the man. I mean, my attitude towards anybody needing time off is going to be like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You go. You do you. We'll figure it out. Or we just won't play. I mean,
yeah. Worst case scenario, there's a break. Yeah.
I don't want to. I definitely have a lot more empathy to that. The delicacy of those choices and what's the priorities.
Amen. But now, so looking forward though, there is some exciting things coming, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you guys are about to.
We're writing a new record, which is exciting as.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we have our little studio down in town here that we can record stuff and just get weird with.
That's killer. So you can record.
Yeah,
where you kind of your creation space is the recording studio too.
Yeah, Adam, our drummer, he's way good at recording now.
Yeah,
like he's got his drums all set up and cherried and mic'd all cool, and we have our all the channels with all this juicy stuff, so it sounds fat and
nice.
Yeah, if we do a practice and something's like really hits, like we can actually keep tracks,
develop that further, or have that on tape.
We can demo things out easy. And like I said, everybody's bringing some ideas, and I'm excited to explore those ideas and be either let the creation happen on its own, or me adding some things that I think I can add or support in any way I can. And then, adding my own little things that I can as far as my brain children of song ideas.
Yeah.
And feeling the support from the other guys.
Yeah.
I hope we can come, create my goal is to have at least like 20 tracks, maybe more to choose from.
Yeah.
I read Rick Rubin's recent book.
Yeah.
Which was inspiring.
It's so digestible.
Yeah.
You have these little morsels and you can eat 10 morsels a day and have a whole couple weeks of enjoying that book.
Right. But one of the things he said, maybe it wasn't in the book, but maybe it was like an interview he gave, but he's like, record as many songs as you can and then pick the ones that you can't live without.
Wow, that's good.
And maybe
it's wisdom. It's well said. It's nicely put.
Yeah, and I would love to get to that point. If it happens, it does. If it doesn't, whatever. We don't have, Rick Rubin's just a guy who's put out millions.
A lot of great music. Or he helped people through their journey to get there.
Yeah,
which is cool. That's a role to play. Yeah.
So we'll see. I have my dreams and not expectations, but my dreams of how it goes. It never is the way it is in my head. And
sure,
being open to that journey and not putting too much emphasis on how I think things should be. I think that's some of the faults I have as an artist. I like, if Rick Rubin said this, then maybe it should be. I'm like, no, well, we're a completely different group of people with a completely different. It's just. Let the journey happen, let the path lead it where it goes, and be open and accepting to what is given and make choices based on that. And the outcome will be the outcome.
Yeah. What will be, will be. Life will find a way.
Right.
What's always inspired me too is you do things alone too, and maybe speak to that a little bit. Like that's kind of a refreshing thing is to also. Earlier in the conversation, I wanted to ask you, how did you find your voice? And you kind of answered it without even me asking about, these things in your life that it kind of performance, the theater, Nathan, and being exposed to bands, and you kind of doing jazz in high school. But, there's that other piece to it too, is you have a connection personally to create your own, write as many songs as you want and keep the ones you can't live without.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing a personal show with you.
Yeah.
Coming up with Natalie Rise.
Yeah. Mosally.
And honestly, that came from COVID.
Wow.
Because we weren't playing shows. And I was like, dude, when are we going to do that again? it felt like for a while, right? You guys
we're a similar
you probably
spot.
felt the same way.
Yeah.
Like, are we ever gonna? Is there
we-
ever
are we
gonna be a
coming
venue?
back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, is there ever gonna be? There was so much uncertainty,
Yeah.
and I just needed to play.
Good.
And so, I had some gear. I had this little pedal board that had a looper in it, and everybody was looping. Yeah, everybody was looping. Online, you're like, oh yeah, look at these bad motherfuckers like looping and making these cool beats. I want to do that.
Yeah,
I swear, everything I do in music, it's because I see other people. And I'm like, I want to do that.
Cool.
I'm just a big old wannabe. And so yeah, me and my little family I have a cool van that I think is cool, but it's probably creepy to other people. And we just load up in it and go to the beach, go West Cliff, East Cliff.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the south side, and just kind of park to where we can see the ocean.
Yeah, be posted.
I got this cool battery thing that I can plug some gear into, and I would just play.
Wow.
And during COVID, people weren't hearing live music. They weren't, so
it was like pent up energy, right? They needed a release.
It was crazy. I'd be playing and people would be like, "What? I haven't heard that in so long." And people would kind of really get jazzed by it.
Yeah.
And like nowadays when I do it, people are like, yeah, whatever. But COVID was like, it was kind of a cool time.
That's really cool.
Any sort of guitar, any sort of sound that was musical, people are like, oh, let me get close to that. Yeah. This is live music. And so it was inspiring me it inspired me to keep doing it and developing it a little bit, because the reaction I got was it was beyond. People were they're so thirsty.
Yeah, they are,
for music. And so, yeah, I just kept doing it, and then I started writing my own tune. Or, I've always write tunes. Like I have like tons of half songs, tons of like these, whatever jams.
Little ditties. Yep.
Yeah, I have a hard drive full of like weird beats and like
Sweet.
all the stuff. So I'm always, it's kind of my, I don't know, I get into the flow at home and just do things.
Yeah.
Whether or not thinking about any sort of release or anything, it's just what I've done. I don't know. It's my outlet. And so, yeah, so COVID started me doing this busking thing and a looping thing, and wrote some songs, and it was received well by whoever was walking by.
I love it.
And then I kind of did some online. It just kind of seemed like there's people enjoyed it. So I just kept doing it and played a couple of shows here and there. And yeah, I don't know what is going to keep going with it. I think right now the main focus is this new record with the Expendables. I'm going to do the show with you and Natalie Rise.
Yeah.
I would love to put out a record of my own. I've put out two songs. I have some live stuff. I did a tour with Eric Rachmani.
Oh, nice.
From Revolution. He does an acoustic thing.
Oh,
was
very
in
cool.
2022. And I have some board recordings of stuff that I did, and I've mixed them a little bit. So
nice.
I want to release some of that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I wish I could tell you there was more of a plan for that.
Hey, as long as you're putting in, just keep doing the reps.
Yeah.
Because people are enjoying it, and that's the vibe, is you're bringing joy.
100%.
And it's bringing you joy, and it's just what we do.
Yeah. That's brings me to this song I'm working on. The magic of music, and how for both the creator and the listener, it's like this win-win situation.
Yeah.
For me as a creator, I get to put out what I'd like to put out, or work through some emotional stuff.
Yep.
Write lyrics or whatever it is. And then whomever is listening to it can benefit from it too, by relating to the lyrics, or just putting it on and being able to clean their bathroom.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
vibe, whatever it is.
Drive home. Yeah.
But there's not many things that have this both net positive with no loss.
Amen.
There's no, I don't know, maybe the power that's used to record the stuff, or like, I don't know, the computer chips that are used. There's some people
Sure.
getting exploited. But when the raw, a live performance,
Yeah, amen.
if you're playing guitar in front of somebody, like you're getting something from it as the performer and the listener's getting something from it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no loss of like energy or good feeling. There's that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
There's not many things out there in this world that kind of do that.
Yeah, like truly good.
Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. I have a kind of a song concept about that.
I love that.
There's this, we were doing meet and greets and this guy came up to us. He's like, you know what? This song you wrote, I was going through a dark time. And every time I put this song on, it's a song called You're Right Here. It helped me through.
Wow.
And that song, You're Right Here, helped me through some dark time because I was missing my family on the road.
Wow.
And it's just amazing how it gave me pause when we were having that conversation. And then I was like, man, I think I need to write a song about that.
Yeah, it's a case in point.
Mm-hmm.
And what a strong affirmation.
Right.
From your heart, from his heart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's real.
Right. And so,
and full circle. It's the power of one thing I wanted to talk about too is the healing power of music. But once again, it's already implied in this whole exchange. So
it's such a beautiful thing, and that's why I have this deep gratitude for being just a part of like music and bringing these bouquets of frequencies to the people.
Yeah.
And then having them bring their bouquet of feelings and response and energy back. It's this cyclical thing that has pretty much only positive impacts.
Amen.
Yeah.
We're right at the top of the hour, brother. I want to give you the last word. Thank you so much. Lots of love, brother.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.
This is fantastic.
It's already been an hour.
It's been an hour.
Wow.
Cathartic.
Yeah. Like in the zone.
In the zone and flow.
Yeah.
We're right in the flow.
Where time doesn't
I had all these things and it didn't even feel like I asked any questions. We just talked.
I love it.
No. Well, thanks, man.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for our show and
dude, hell yeah.
all the other things you're doing.
Yeah,
the new album.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Me too.
All right, brother.
Thanks.
One love.
Thanks, Chris.